High up in the sky a voice yells at Yifan for being way too brave as lightning flashes around him. Looking down from the clouds, three powerful beings appear and complain that their many guards were just defeated. Raising his glowing blade, the hero declares that the strongest wins and he plans to take over the heavenly way. Preparing her power, the goddess decides to test him and see if he actually has the skills to match his big words. Suddenly a massive wave of fire and energy explodes everywhere while the battle for the throne finally begins. Moving like a blur, the warrior charges through the light and tries to reach his goal before it is too late. After a giant blast of white light, everything changes and it seems like the legendary battle has ended badly. Waking up in a soft bed, a young woman is sleeping peacefully while the sun shines through the room. Resting nearby, the protagonist opens his eyes and looks confused because this place feels totally different. Breaking down the door, several men in suits burst inside and look shocked at the scene before them. Standing there without a shirt, the young man is confused as the guards start accusing him of doing something bad. Realizing he might have failed his big test, the hero remembers his soul being destroyed during the final fight. Grabbed by the guards, the boy wonders if he actually fell during the tribulation and ended up in this weak body. Surrounded by angry family members, he hears them saying he ruined their reputation and a very important marriage. Recalling memories of his old life, he understands he was a loser who got framed by his own relatives on Earth. Yitsung shouts at the boy and asks if he finally admits his big mistake while everyone else watches the scene. Thinking to himself, the protagonist feels annoyed because a great immortal like him ended up in such a weak body. Angry relatives call him trash and demand his immediate expulsion since he refuses to say he is sorry for his actions. Hearing the formal order, he is told to get lost forever while the leader secretly wonders how the kid failed so much. While a girl pretends to be sad, some adults are actually happy to see the young man finally leaving the house. Attempting to push him out, the guards receive a warning from the hero to not push their luck with him today. Even with a frail frame, he releases a massive pressure that makes the aggressive men fall straight to the floor. Everyone in the room feels shocked when they see the guards unable to move because of the strange energy around them. Terrified and sweating, the two guys ask what he is trying to do as they feel a power they cannot explain. Walking away, the protagonist puts on his jacket and promises that these mortals will regret their choice very soon. Standing outside, he realizes that the spiritual energy on Earth is very thin compared to the upper heavens. Looking at his hands, the boy understands that reaching his peak power in this life will be a difficult task. Suddenly he stops because he catches the scent of a spirit stone nearby, which catches his attention immediately. Watching a woman walk by, the hero wonders if stones like that actually exist in this modern world as well. Staring at the lady in red, he realizes that the original owner of this body already knew her from before. Outside the building, the girl approaches the boy while asking if he knows exactly who she is. Identifying herself as the daughter of a great family, she tells the boy to stop bothering her forever. In the past, it seems the old version of this guy spent his whole life chasing her without any luck. Smiling calmly, the hero explains that his only interest now is the shiny gemstone she wears around her neck. With a look of pure disgust, the lady tells him to get lost and leave her alone immediately. As she walks away, the protagonist decides to follow because he cannot let that rare spirit stone escape. Even though he feels embarrassed about stalking, he notices some spiritual energy near a large tree. Recalling powerful arts from his previous life, he realizes he can turn any place into a training ground. Down on the grass, the young man begins to absorb the natural essence of the mountains and the rivers. Glowing lights start to flicker around the branches as the ancient plant reacts to his intense cultivation. Suddenly a massive wave of aura surrounds his body while he stays focused on his difficult task. Thinking to himself, he finds it interesting to start over from scratch and considers this a worthy trial. After achieving the first realm of body tempering, he feels confident about being stronger than most people. From behind the villa, he hears a faint cry for help and quickly stops his training to investigate. Looking around the corner, he sees the rich girl being cornered by several men in dark suits. A bald man with sunglasses smiles while mentioning that the daughter of the Mu family is a true beauty, as the rumors say. Terrified on the ground, the woman warns that they cannot afford the consequences of provoking the four great families. Mocking her words, the leader reveals her clan is about to be destroyed and his threat makes her feel hopeless. Suddenly the protagonist shows up in the alley, so the lady begs for help, but he asks what he gets for saving her. Desperate to escape the danger, she promises to agree to anything he wants if he just protects her right now. Accepting the offer with a calm smile, the young man confirms the deal and prepares to handle the situation. Looking at the group of thugs, the hero tells them to release the girl and leave before things get ugly for everyone. Laughing at his bravery, the criminals wonder why people still try to play the hero in these modern times. One of the enemies jumps forward with a sharp blade while shouting that the newcomer is simply asking for death. Without moving an inch, the warrior catches the incoming weapon using only 2 fingers, which shocks the attacker. Staring coldly, the protagonist mentions that he already gave them a chance to walk away peacefully. Applying a bit of pressure, the fighter easily breaks the metal sword into pieces like it was made of cheap glass. Moving like a flash of light, the boy strikes the villains down and warns them for ignoring his previous mercy. Both the remaining thug and the rescued lady stare in total disbelief after witnessing such incredible power. Standing tall among the fallen enemies, the mysterious guy proves that he is not someone to be messed with. The bald man screams in terror before a quick strike takes him out and leaves him on the floor. Standing over the defeated group, the hero jokes that this must count as self-defense on this planet. Looking around the messy alley, the boy tells the woman in red that his job is finally finished. Getting very close to her, he reminds the lady about her promise to give him anything he wants as payment. The beautiful girl looks surprised and wonders what this mysterious guy is planning to do next. While she tries to speak, his hand reaches out toward her expensive jewelry to take what he was promised. Suddenly the young man pulls the necklace right off her neck while she makes a small sound of shock. Holding the shiny prize, the main character smiles while the woman remains completely speechless by his bold move. With a big grin, he explains that this reward is exactly what he mentioned earlier this morning. Feeling insulted and angry, the lady shouts at the teenager and calls him a complete jerk for taking her stuff. Waving goodbye as he walks away, the protagonist ignores her screaming and leaves the alley behind. Inspecting the gems, he notices the high quality and thinks about using them to create some powerful pills. 2 days later, the scene shifts to the local university where many students are walking around the campus. Sitting behind a sign, the boy tries to sell special beads for 100,000 each to strengthen the body. Nearby students whisper that he used to be a rich young master before being kicked out of his family. Smiling brightly, the young man thinks about how he must survive on his own after leaving his wealthy family behind. Looking at the pills, he realizes his weak body could only make 3 even though he used almost all his energy for it. Suddenly a voice asks how many beads he has, while a rich lady offers to buy the entire stock right there. Recognizing the woman as the rich Mu Luoluo, he notices her standing there with a serious expression and a red dress. Doing the math, he says the total is 300,000 but offers a discount of 200,000 for the bulk buy. Reaching out, she hands over a check for 300,000 while telling the boy to keep the extra change. Accepting the payment with a smile, the seller hands over the items and feels happy about his sudden profit. Grabbing the paper tightly, he makes sure the deal is sealed so he can finally afford a good place to stay. Offering even more cash, the lady asks if he wants to be her personal bodyguard since he just left his family. Waiting for his answer, the woman holds the money and hopes he will accept this new job offer right away. Declining the offer immediately, he says he is not interested, which leaves the girl looking very annoyed at him. Walking away in a huff, she calls him ridiculous and claims they are even now as she holds her new purchase. Giving a free tip, the protagonist tells her to stay indoors for a while, and this makes the lady stop in her tracks. Looking confused, she wonders if the young man actually knows something secret that could happen to her soon. Watching him leave, she stays silent while thinking about the strange warning he just gave her out of nowhere. Feeling annoyed, she wonders why that loser ran off so fast without even explaining his reasons for leaving. Riding in the car, the man asks why she spent 300,000 on those prayer beads from a random kid. The lady explains that some people hide their power and says they should not judge him by normal rules. Suddenly a creepy guy with a scary face watches them and thinks he found the perfect target for his hunt. Chaos breaks out when the window shatters and the girl realizes an assassin is attacking their vehicle. A massive explosion hits the car as flames burst everywhere, turning the scene into total destruction. One of the prayer beads flies through the air while glowing with a mysterious energy to protect the girl. Smoke fills the entire area after the blast, and it looks like nothing could have survived that impact. Her eyes start to glow with a strange light as she feels a powerful force surrounding her body in the mist. Looking around, the young woman is shocked to find herself completely safe and without a single scratch. She notices the beads were the reason for her survival and wonders about the true identity of the boy. Elsewhere, the protagonist makes a face like he is annoyed by something happening far away from him. He thinks to himself that he will lose his mind if anyone tries to call out his name one more time today. Just as he says that, a hand grabs his ear and pulls hard, making the young man shout in sudden pain. Turning around, he sees a beautiful woman who happens to be his sister, and she is angry at him for loitering. Suddenly a beautiful woman grabs the boy and he realizes she is his scary cousin named Yimei. Looking quite annoyed, she scolds him for getting into trouble without asking for her help first. The young man tries to make an excuse, but he feels nervous while facing her intense gaze. Nodding her head, she admits the family is a mess and assumes someone targeted him again. Watching her carefully, the protagonist smiles because she seems genuinely worried about his safety. Deep down, he knows this lady is the only person who actually trusts him in this entire world. Grabbing his arm once more, she demands that he follows her to a new location right now. Arriving at a martial arts gym, she announces that he will start working there from today. While explaining the plan, she promises to find him a better job after finishing her own tasks. Entrusting her brother to the gym owner, she asks the man to keep a close eye on the boy. Feeling quite helpless, the protagonist follows the owner while his cousin leaves the building. Several hours pass while the training sessions continue inside the busy facility. Sitting on the floor, the former Immortal Lord complains about doing simple chores in this gym. Watching the students train, he notices many mistakes in their moves and feels they are weak. Approaching the instructor, the boy points out that the current posture is wrong and blocks their energy. Grinning at the visitor, the white-haired guy tells him to get lost because he thinks traditional arts are a total scam. Looking quite serious, the protagonist asks if he really believes that and says he wants to test that theory right now. Calling the kid arrogant, the older man launches a high kick while hoping to teach him a very painful lesson. Easily blocking the attack, the young man points out that his stance is unstable and his kick has zero power. Demonstrating the right way to use strength, the fighter shows how to make a heavy move feel as light as a feather. With a sudden burst of energy, the opponent is sent flying across the room after failing to land a single hit. Landing hard on the ground, the defeated coach groans in pain while realizing he just got totally destroyed. Looking down, the main character mentions that Chinese martial arts are only useless because the man lacks any real talent. Everyone else in the gym stays quiet because they cannot believe their eyes after witnessing such a quick defeat. Shocked students wonder how the coach lost so fast since he was supposed to be a top-tier fighter in this gym. Watching the scene, a young girl realizes she is looking at a true master while her eyes sparkle with admiration. Dropping to her knees, the blue-haired girl begs the stranger to take her as his new disciple and teach her everything. Telling her to get up, the hero explains that he only showed some basic principles, so she should not be so impressed. Sincerely wishing to learn, the student says her knowledge is shallow and keeps asking for a chance to train with him. Staring at the girl, the protagonist wonders what to do next because he did not expect to gain a follower so soon. Observing the blue-haired boy, the traveler notices his weak body but feels a strange power hidden deep inside. After checking the situation, the protagonist asks if the child practiced a special mantra, but the kid knows nothing about it. Smiling brightly, the youngster invites his new friend to rest at his house and promises that the Han family is very kind. Curious about how an ordinary family uses internal energy, the traveler agrees to go, then tells the kid his real name. Slowly walking away from the training hall, the group heads toward a new destination as they leave the gym behind. Watching them leave from the shadows, the angry coach grinds his teeth because he refuses to let this matter end so easily. Once arriving at a massive gate, the duo finally reaches the beautiful villa where the boy lives with his rich relatives. Stepping through the entrance, the main character clarifies that he has not officially accepted the role of a teacher yet. Reaching the courtyard, the blue-haired boy introduces his grandfather, who is the current leader and teacher of their clan. With respect, the young visitor bows deeply to the elder, then greets him with a very polite tone of voice. Suddenly the old man moves with incredible speed as he launches a powerful strike toward the unsuspecting stranger. Creating a massive shockwave, the two martial artists collide in a display of raw strength that destroys the ground below. Looking at the chaos, the young boy screams in terror because he cannot understand why his grandfather is attacking his friend. Lowering his guard, the elder smiles, then explains that he simply wanted to test the strength of the newcomer. Feeling relieved, the group settles the tension, so the old master prepares to discuss more serious matters now. Smiling confidently, the boy asks the elder if he actually managed to pass that difficult test. Watching the teen, the old man admits that true heroes really do come from the younger generation. Happy that his grandson chose correctly, the master wonders about the identity of this mysterious fighter. Suddenly the powerful veteran begins to squint his eyes as if he is feeling a massive amount of pain. Coughing up blood, the elder looks like his body is failing him right in front of everyone. Shouting for help, the servants realize the old sickness is back and they need to find the famous doctor. Standing there, the student watches as the divine physician arrives while thinking the timing is very weird. Looking closely at the newcomer, the protagonist starts to feel like something is not quite right here. Sensing a strange energy, the main character realizes that this supposed healer might be a total fake. Inside the bedroom, the grandson begs the expert to save his relative from this terrible situation. Promising a full recovery, the professional says he will use his special arts to remove the wicked poison. Placing his hand on the chest, the practitioner starts glowing with a dark purple light that looks suspicious. Groaning in agony, the old master seems to be getting worse instead of better during the process. Showing a hidden grin, the manipulator looks like he is actually enjoying the pain he is causing. Stopping the process, the hero grabs the man's arm and accuses him of stealing the elder's life force. Feeling insulted, the fake doctor tells the brat to get out while waving his hand in anger. The hero claims that if the old man is not stopped right now, the patient will be beyond saving for good. Panicked, the grandson asks his grandfather if he is okay while looking at the pale face on the bed. Watching the situation, the greedy healer realizes something is wrong because his plan might be failing. Gritting his teeth, the villain gets deeply furious because someone is finally ruining his secret and evil plans. With a crazy look in his eyes, the old man screams that the boy will pay for this with his own life. Getting ready to fight, the young master clenches his fist to face the upcoming attack from the fake expert. Both fighters collide in the middle of the room, creating a bright flash of light as they hit each other. Looking at his own hand, the teenager notices the purple poison, but he does not seem worried at all. He mockingly says this low-level technique is outdated and it will never work against a real master like him. Severely injured, the fake healer struggles to stay up while wondering how a brat could be so powerful. Pointing his finger, the main character calls him a thief of lives and tells him to heal his own broken organs. Desperate for help, the young grandson begs the savior to do something since his relative is fading away fast. Keeping a calm expression, the master tells the boy not to worry because he already knows the cause of the illness. Standing over the patient, the expert explains that realigning the toxic energy will make the man recover soon. Directing the energy through the old man's body, the boy helps him absorb the power since his level is high. Seeing his relative awake, the grandson asks with a smile if the elder is finally feeling better now. Breathing easily, the grandpa says he feels amazing and tells the young boy to stop crying over him. Shaking hands, the old man thanks the master for curing a sickness that plagued his family for centuries. Looking humble, the protagonist lies about reading some old book to hide that he lived a whole past life. Regretting his past doubts, the elder admits he was totally blind for questioning such great talent. Walking slowly, the old man asks the hero to follow him so he can give a massive reward for the help. Entering the secret garden, they see rare red grasses that have been grown by this clan for generations. Realizing the truth, the visitor notes how these special herbs prove the family is actually a hidden clan. Smiling widely, the elder offers the entire villa and the expensive garden to the master as a humble gift. Accepting the generous offer, the young man decides to officially take the kid as his new disciple today. Laughing out loud, the grandpa suggests a specific place to visit if the master ever needs more cash. Arriving at the underground market, they see a bunch of people betting on rocks to find hidden treasures. Explaining the rules, the green-haired boy says they can make millions of coins if they pick the right stone. Moving forward, the hero tells his student that no explanation is needed since he knows exactly what to do. Standing with a megaphone, the man yells that the stone auction is finally starting. He explains that the black marks on the rocks mean there is a high chance of finding jade inside. While everyone listens to the seller, the protagonist starts whispering a strange spell to himself. Concentrating his power, the young man activates a secret technique called the Heavenly Eye to see the truth. Instead of staying at the main table, the boy walks away because he knows a better way to find treasure. Stopping in front of a massive pile of trash, the hero looks at the rocks that nobody else wants. Scanning the pile with his special vision, the teenager spots something very interesting hidden among the rubble. Picking up a dusty stone, the boy asks the seller how much this piece of rock actually costs. Smirking at the request, the man says that ugly object is just useless scrap and looks like a turtle shell. Showing a confident smile, the protagonist tells the guy that he really wants to buy this specific rock. Laughing out loud, the seller says he will give it away for only $200, just like a market turtle. Approaching the leader, the green-haired girl says they have plenty of money and should not buy trash. Ignoring the warning, the boy uses his energy to crack the surface and reveals what is inside the stone. Breaking the outer casing, a bright glow appears as the most beautiful green jade is finally revealed. Looking at the glowing gem, everyone is completely shocked because the useless rock was actually a treasure. Holding a green stone, the happy guy asks where he should pay to finish the deal quickly. Suddenly someone starts shouting for the boy and looking for him everywhere in the building. Appearing at the door, a girl warns that something is happening at the gym and they need to hurry. Arriving at the training center, they find a group of martial artists waiting in the middle of the room. Walking forward with his hands in his pockets, the young man asks who exactly was looking for him. An old man explains that some local fighters came there just to challenge the guest to a match. Whispering nervously, the blue-haired kid says those guys are famous bullies from the city martial arts circle. Pointing at the group, the nervous sidekick highlights the tall leader named Murim, who looks very strong. Looking very serious, this opponent was actually the former champion of the whole province a few years ago. Thinking about the situation, the protagonist asks if winning means he will become the new number one. Screaming with rage, the coach tells the kid to shut up as he is clearly acting way too arrogant. Keeping his cool, the red-haired guy says the target is probably too weak to even stand a chance against him. Laughing at the scene, another student says the boss should not worry because he can handle the brat alone. Stepping onto the mat with a cocky smile, the hero tells the enemy to come and face him now. Wanting to avoid more trouble for his friend's gym, the legend decides to settle this fight once and for all. The protagonist introduces himself as Yi Fan and asks for the name of his challenger while staying calm. Suddenly the opponent throws a punch and calls the kid a weakling since he wants to end this fast. Blocking the attack with ease, the young hero says the fighter chose the hard way to learn a lesson. With a quick movement, he lands a strong kick that sends the arrogant guy flying backward. Watching the scene, the other students stay quiet as the main character shows his real power. Coach Ma gets very upset and starts shouting since he cannot believe what just happened. Our lead looks at the man and mentions that the old teacher clearly forgot their last meeting. Ignoring the warning, the older master rushes forward with a desperate strike to regain his pride. Grabbing the man by the collar, the boy stops him instantly while looking directly into his eyes. He says that the only reason the teacher is still there is due to his sister's reputation. Confused by the situation, the veteran wonders where a skinny teenager got so much physical strength. Trying one more time, the elder launches another kick to escape the grip of the powerful youngster. Catching the leg without any effort, the protagonist proves that the difference in power is massive. Looking serious, he tells the fighter to behave or he will start taking him apart bit by bit. Now the battle is over and the main character shows a cold expression that scares everyone around. Suddenly the redhead fighter lands a powerful blow that sends the poor coach flying across the room. Observing the situation, the main character tells the opponent that he is still way too young for sneak attacks. Remaining silent, the muscular martial artist prepares his next move while looking very serious at the duo. Launching a massive kick, the redhead manages to strike both of them at once with incredible force. Crashing into the wall, the impact creates a huge shockwave that shakes the entire training hall. Realizing the situation, the protagonist notices that this crazy guy does not even care about his own allies. Standing up with confidence, the boy invites the enemy for a real fight to see who is truly stronger. Shouting for him to shut up, the angry fighter charges forward because he is tired of hearing excuses. Dodging the attack, the young hero remarks that the physical condition of his opponent is actually quite decent. Moving with speed, the boy quickly strikes several pressure points to show that his technique is still lacking. Feeling insulted, the martial artist asks who is being called weak since he is still full of rage. Shaking uncontrollably, the redhead wonders what kind of trick was used as his body starts to fail him. Explaining the situation, the hero says this move is called the triple immortal cloud while the enemy stumbles. Looking down at the guy, the protagonist asks how it feels to have his energy blocked by simple finger taps. Thinking about the future, the boy checks a map and plans to find some spirit herbs to help them both grow. Cyan-haired boy says he needs a few days to get ready before they start their journey together. Raising his fist, the teacher asks when they should depart while looking quite determined. Without any warning, the master shouts that their departure is happening this very second. Grabbing the apprentice by his arm, the powerful man leaps high above the city skyline. Looking down at the massive city, they both soar through the clouds at an incredible speed. Terrified, the student mentions that their target is over 100 kilometers away from the city. Landing roughly on a roof, the young boy falls over while trying to catch his breath. Panting on the floor, the follower complains that his leader should be more careful with him. Watching his mentor, the boy realizes that this strength is way beyond any normal human level. Offering a hand, the teacher asks if his student is finished resting after that short flight. Before the boy can even finish his sentence, he gets pulled into the air for another jump. Leaving a trail of dust behind them, the pair flies toward the distant mountains very fast. Arriving at the destination, the young apprentice is shocked that they traveled 100 kilometers so fast. Smiling, the master explains that his pupil needs way more practice to keep up with his pace. Feeling a strange power nearby, the leader wonders why the spiritual energy is so unstable. Walking through the field, the younger boy runs to catch up while calling out for his teacher to wait for him. Kneeling by the green leaves, the dark-haired teen notices the plants have energy but are not actually spirit herbs. Suddenly, a massive shadow moves quickly through the grass and catches the duo by surprise with its incredible speed. Sensing danger, the protagonist shouts for Han Feng to watch his back before anything bad happens to his friend. Screaming for help, the blue-haired kid is suddenly grabbed and squeezed by a python that appeared out of nowhere. Looking at the situation, the young man realizes the energy was coming from that massive beast all along. Struggling to draw air, the poor victim gasps while the snake tightens its grip around his small body. Immediately running toward the monster, the leader tells his student to focus his power and use a special breathing mantra. Closing his eyes, the disciple starts reciting the ancient words to calm his heart and purify his spirit from within. Feeling the change, the boy notices the mantra is working and the heavy pressure from the predator is finally fading away. Opening its massive jaws, the creature prepares to swallow the kid, who looks terrified by the sharp fangs. Jumping high into the air, the hero gets angry because the beast is ignoring him and focusing on someone else. Delivering a powerful kick, the protagonist strikes the large head and creates a huge impact that shakes the ground. Being thrown through the sky, the little friend is finally free from the coils while flying over the forest. Landing safely, the two allies stand together on the grass after surviving the sudden attack from the dangerous animal. A giant snake hisses loudly in the mountains while showing its sharp fangs to the intruders. Standing calmly, the young man tells the beast to recognize its real opponent before things get ugly. With a quick jump, he attacks the creature and lands a heavy blow right on its scaly head. Crouching on top of the monster, he says this valley is amazing for raising such powerful beasts. Moving away, the hero leaves the giant python behind while it struggles to recover from the hit. The blue-haired boy watches in awe and praises his master for the incredible technique he just used. Smiling, the mentor tells his student to practice every day and breathe in the spiritual energy. Thinking to himself, the teacher realizes that this kid has some serious natural talent for cultivation. Looking at the defeated beast, the protagonist plans to use its body to level up his own powers. Han Feng explains that this is the legendary 5-spirit python mentioned in his family records. Laughing at the name, the main character calls it a little snake while his student explains its history. Examining the scales, he notes how the creature absorbed energy for hundreds of years to reach this level. Ready to start, he decides to refine the beast right there on the spot to gain its power. Glowing seals appear on the python as the refining process begins to extract all the hidden energy. Chanting a powerful mantra, the hero asks the heavens to lend him their laws and noble strength. Talismans glow with energy as the laws of nature begin to shift around the items. Looking closely at the scene, the blue-haired boy watches his master complete the ritual. Suddenly his golden eye shines with a massive power that shows he is not a normal human. Striking a cool pose, the protagonist signals that the transformation of his body is now complete. A giant pillar of yellow light shoots into the sky and alerts everyone in the nearby area. Far away, a mysterious man in a black hood notices the bright light and looks very curious. Sensing a massive aura, the stranger stands still while wondering who could possess such energy. Flying through the air, the hooded guy decides to investigate if a powerful warrior is training nearby. Back at the site, the finished papers hum with magic as they float around in the quiet forest. Holding the new items, the hero explains that these charms will make them much stronger in battle. Surprised by the pressure, the younger companion asks why these specific tools feel so different. Smiling at his friend, the leader says he used the soul of a giant snake to create this power. Standing tall with a green glow, the main character says he is almost at the next level of strength. Having a sudden realization, the small helper gets a bright idea while looking at the horizon. Pointing toward the snowy mountains, the kid suggests looking for a secret garden full of herbs. Excitedly, the blue-haired kid says that all the garden treasures belong to them since the enemy is gone. Receiving praise for his vast knowledge, the protagonist admits that cultivation is his main focus in life. Suddenly birds fly away as a loud noise comes from the forest, making both of them alert to the situation. Looking towards the trees, the dark-haired boy notices something moving in the exact direction he just pointed to. Determined to investigate, the pair flies through the air while heading towards the source of the mystery. After landing on a branch, the main character stops his momentum to get a better look at what is ahead. In front of their eyes, a massive wall of glowing golden symbols appears hidden among the tall trees. Shocked by the view, the young companion yells that he has never seen anything so strange in his entire life. While thinking deeply, the leader says this must be the entrance to the herb garden, even though the door looks weird. By realizing his mistake, the fighter feels silly for forgetting that formation seals could be protecting this place. With a smile, the hero understands why his first scan failed, because this barrier is actually very complex. As he touches the glowing surface, the boy identifies it as a special lock that uses the mountains as a power source. Showing a map of 7 nodes, the narrator explains that breaking them in the wrong order will waste their effort. To explain the process, the team mentions how this magic blocks people outside while hiding the area from sight. While taking notes quickly, the blue-haired boy listens to every word so he can learn how this ancient power works. Standing before a glowing wall, the protagonist explains how the first node works while showing the way to the next point. Moving fast, he jumps through the grass to finish the 7 stars formation as the energy starts to flow. Bright light shines from the giant seal when the activation begins, because the magic is finally working. Excitedly, the young student takes notes while watching his master break the seal one piece at a time. Smiling, the hero says that all 7 nodes were found and they can finally go through the magic door. Surprised by the skill, the boy asks how his master knows such rare magic that was lost long ago. Feeling proud, the protagonist says this was just child's play back in his past life and smiles. Thinking to himself, he realizes how lucky it is to find this legacy and feels the universe is on his side. Suddenly his eyes widen as he senses something dangerous coming his way from the shadows. Quickly, a small blade flies past and grazes his face while drawing just a bit of blood. Sticking into a nearby tree, the weapon stops after missing its target by just a few inches. Appearing out of nowhere, a hooded man stands behind the young student, who looks very scared. Looking very serious, the main character asks why he was attacked and who the stranger is. Hidden by his hood, the enemy asks how a stranger could possibly know the way to break this seal. Preparing for a fight, his hand begins to glow with a strange energy as the tension rises. Pointing his finger, the mysterious hooded man demands to know the truth or both will perish right here. While looking confident, our hero hears the enemy praise his rapid growth to the 8th stage of body forging. Powering up his purple fist, the villain claims he is still much stronger due to his great completion level. Boldly demanding the secrets of the array, the cloaked figure warns that no one will find them in this valley. After recognizing the deadly technique, the protagonist realizes his opponent is a master of body forging. Charging forward, he knows he must hit hard and fast before the master can use the hostage against him. Suddenly, a bright orange glow appears as the young fighter prepares to unleash his special 1-star seal move. Launching the strike with full force, the boy watches as the bad guy laughs at such a weak-looking attempt. As the two powers collide, a massive explosion fills the entire area with a blinding flash of light. Swiveling around, the attacker releases a giant purple energy wave trying to crush everything in its path. Seeing something unexpected, the hooded warrior suddenly looks very surprised by what is happening now. Once again the student forms his golden attack, refusing to back down while keeping the pressure on his foe. Worriedly, the enemy notices that this Dharma seal can actually break through his strongest move. Jumping away to save his own skin, the antagonist lets go of the captive as the beam narrowly misses him. Quickly reaching into his clothes, the man grabs a strange bell to prepare his next dirty trick. Jumping through the air, the hooded enemy tries to escape while a golden object flies towards him. While holding a yellow paper, the protagonist smiles because he knows his move will land. As he throws the talisman forward, the hero mocks the opponent for trying to block such a strong attack. Suddenly a massive explosion happens and fire fills the entire screen. Because he sees the attack coming closer, the hooded guy looks completely terrified of what is coming. After crashing into a tree, the white energy creates a huge impact in the forest. Right now the villain looks weak while leaning against the wood. Deep down, the enemy wonders where this powerful kid came from since he is too fast. Standing with arms crossed, the master explains that his family background is way too high for a loser. Since he values life, the main character tells the man to leave before things get worse. Giving a thumbs up, the young disciple says she is fine and won't die today. Eventually the hooded man gets back on his feet and calls the protagonist very arrogant. Smiling despite his injuries, the opponent asks if the boy really thinks the fight is over. Quickly moving his hands, the enemy starts a secret ritual that glows bright red. Surrounded by a dark aura, the bad guy activates a technique to gain more power for the next round. In the middle of the woods, a mysterious hooded man appears surrounded by a dangerous red energy that looks very scary. Curiously, the blue-haired boy asks what that move is, and the teacher explains it is a soul-eating blood technique. This forbidden spell only lasts for 15 minutes and will leave the user completely exhausted on the ground soon. Grinning wickedly, the enemy says he does not care what kind of monster the hero is because he will not let him escape. Without wasting any more time, the hooded villain charges forward while the protagonist prepares his own powerful punch. Their fists collide with massive force as red and yellow auras clash together, creating a huge shockwave in the forest. A massive explosion pushes both fighters back while the young student watches the scene with a very surprised face. Looking closely at the enemy, the boy realizes that this person is actually strong enough to fight his master to a draw. Suddenly the student remembers that face and points his finger while yelling that the man belongs to the Sun family. Thinking about this new information, the mentor asks if they are famous and the kid explains their plan for power. Looking quite annoyed, the villain admits his identity and says he should have finished the brat off much earlier today. He claims that killing them is just business because spiritual treasures are very rare and he wants to steal them all. Smiling confidently, the hero pulls out a yellow paper and tells the thief that stealing is not going to be that easy. With a quick movement, the brave fighter slaps the magical item onto his own chest to prepare for the next round. Glowing with a bright golden light, the master activates a giant strength talisman and feels his power growing fast. Suddenly a sharp shockwave hits the ground while creating a huge cloud of dust. Charging forward with everything he has, the protagonist throws a massive glowing punch at his opponent. Quickly crossing his arms, the hooded man tries to block the heavy impact while light explodes everywhere. For being pushed back by the insane force, the enemy is sent flying across the field like a broken toy. Landing on his feet, the fighter slides across the grass while leaving 2 long marks on the ground. Standing up with a serious face, the man wonders if the strength of the kid is really still not enough. Activating a forbidden technique, the dark figure turns completely red and prepares to burn his own life. Rushing toward the boy with insane speed, the enemy closes the gap and prepares to end the fight. Both warriors lock hands in a pure struggle of strength while the air around them begins to shake. Laughing like a maniac, the villain says he used 40% of his essence blood to win this battle. 11 With a confident smile, the protagonist says he will break through to the next level right in front of him.